The massive alien ship appeared over Earth's moon without warning. Its silver hull stretched for miles, covered in strange symbols that glowed with blue light. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Station, watching the giant vessel through the main screen. Her heart raced, but her face stayed calm. "Ma'am, they're sending a message," said Lieutenant Torres from the communications desk. "Put it through," Chen ordered. The screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. It had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern and skin that looked like polished stone. When it spoke, the words came through a translator device. "I am High Commander Thekmor of the Corvan Empire. We represent the Galactic Council. Your species has been observed. You will prepare delegates for transport to our vessel." Chen stepped forward. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Command. We welcome contact with your council." The alien's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "You will bring examples of your weapons and technology. The council must evaluate your development level." The transmission ended before Chen could respond. She turned to her staff. "Get me President Martinez immediately, and prepare the demonstration materials we discussed." 3 hours later, Chen and her team transported aboard the Corvan ship. The interior was huge, with ceilings that rose hundreds of feet above them. Strange creatures walked through the corridors. Some looked like giant insects, others like walking trees with many arms. High Commander Thekmor met them in a vast chamber filled with other alien beings. The walls showed images of different planets and star systems. At the center sat a group of the most important-looking aliens Chen had ever seen. "Humans," announced a thin, pale alien with a large brain visible through translucent skin. "I am Chief Scientist Veltaran of the Zephyrian Collective. We have studied your planet for some time. Your species shows potential." Chen noticed how the alien said potential like it was speaking to a child. "We're honored by your attention, Chief Scientist." "Show us your weapons," demanded Thekmor. Chen nodded to her team. They activated a holographic display showing Earth's military technology. Missiles flew across the projection, followed by images of nuclear weapons exploding. Fighter jets streaked through virtual skies, firing conventional weapons. The aliens watched with what looked like boredom. Some whispered among themselves. Chen caught words like primitive and chemical propulsion. "These are your most advanced weapons?" asked Veltaran. "Our current standard military equipment, yes," Chen replied carefully. She didn't mention the experimental facilities hidden deep underground, or the research projects that had been classified beyond top secret. Thekmor's 4 eyes narrowed. "You still use kinetic projectiles and chemical explosives. How quaint." "Your energy output suggests early nuclear technology," added Veltaran. "Perhaps we can guide your development. Under proper supervision, of course." Chen felt her jaw tighten but kept her voice level. "We would appreciate learning from more experienced civilizations." A new alien spoke up. This one looked like a walking crystal formation with light pulsing through its body. "I am Resonance Prime of the Harmony Collective. Your species shows aggressive tendencies. The Council believes you need protection." "Protection?" Chen asked. "From yourselves," Thekmor said with what might have been a smile. "Young species often destroy themselves before achieving true space travel. We will establish monitoring stations around your system. For your own good." The crystal alien's light pulsed faster. "You will be granted protected species status. This means no major technological advancement without Council approval, no expansion beyond your current system without permission." Chen felt her team tense behind her. They had prepared for this possibility. "We understand your concerns. Earth will comply with Council regulations." "Excellent," said Veltaran. "We will provide you with basic space travel technology. Nothing too advanced, of course. Your current rocket systems are barely functional." Another alien, this one resembling a giant spider with silver fur, clicked its mandibles. "The arachnid hierarchy suggests immediate resource extraction rights. These humans clearly cannot efficiently use their planet's wealth." "That seems premature," Chen said quickly. "Perhaps we could discuss a gradual integration process." Thekmor waved a dismissive hand. "The Council will decide what is best for your species. You may return to your planet now. We will contact you when we have made our decisions." As they prepared to leave, Chen overheard Thekmor speaking quietly to another Corvan officer. The translator picked up fragments of their conversation. "Barely past nuclear fission. Pathetic. Projectile weapons could conquer them with a single battle. Group monitoring will be easy." They can't even leave their system. Effectively, no threat to anyone. I might make decent servants eventually. Chen kept her expression neutral, but inside she felt a cold anger building. The aliens saw humans as primitive, weak, and easily controlled. They had no idea what they were really dealing with. Back on Earth, Chen met with a small group in a secure conference room deep underground. The people around the table represented humanity's greatest secrets, the projects that no alien scanners had detected. "How did it go?" asked Dr. Elena Vasquez, head of the Quantum Research Division. "Exactly as we expected," Chen replied. "They think we're children playing with firecrackers." Dr. James Wright, director of the Experimental Physics Lab, leaned forward. "Did they scan our ships?" "Thoroughly. They saw exactly what we wanted them to see. Chemical propulsion, kinetic weapons, basic energy shields. They completely missed the quantum cores and exotic matter containment systems." General Robert Hayes, commander of special projects, smiled grimly. "The stealth modifications worked perfectly. Our real technology stays invisible to their sensors." Chen looked around the table at humanity's brightest minds. These people had been working for decades on projects that pushed the very limits of physics. While the aliens thought humans were struggling with basic spaceflight, Earth scientists had been quietly unlocking the secrets of reality itself. "What's our next move?" asked Dr. Vasquez. "We watch and learn," Chen said. "Let them think we're harmless. Meanwhile, we continue our research. If they want to treat us like children, we'll play the part. For now." Dr. Wright pulled up a holographic display showing their latest experimental results. The timeline manipulation tests are showing promising results. And the consciousness transfer project just achieved stable mind state recording. The new quantum drive prototype can fold space-time in ways their ships can't even detect, added General Hayes. "If we needed to, we could travel between star systems faster than their fastest vessels." Chen studied the data. Humanity had been advancing far beyond what any alien civilization had achieved, but they had done it quietly. No massive fleets, no obvious superweapons, no grand displays of power, just careful, methodical progress toward technologies that could reshape the universe. "Remember," she told the group, "as far as the galaxy knows, we're still trying to figure out how to make better rockets. Let's keep it that way until we understand exactly who we're dealing with." Outside the hidden facility, alien monitoring stations began appearing throughout the solar system. The Galactic Council believed they were watching over a primitive species that needed guidance and protection. They had no idea they were actually observing the most technologically advanced civilization the galaxy had ever seen, one that was very carefully pretending to be exactly what they expected. 6 months after first contact, Admiral Sarah Chen received an urgent message from the Galactic Council. The holographic image of Chief Scientist Velteran appeared in her office, his large brain pulsing with agitated colors. "Admiral Chen, the Council requires human participation in a peacekeeping mission. You will provide 3 of your vessels to assist in resolving a border dispute." Chen set down her coffee cup. "What kind of dispute?" "The Corvan Empire has a disagreement with the Meridian Federation over mining rights in the Kepler 442 system. Your ships will observe and learn how civilized species handle such matters." The transmission ended before Chen could ask more questions. She immediately called an emergency meeting with her senior staff. "It's not really about mining rights," explained Commander Lisa Park, head of Galactic Intelligence. "Our sources say the Corvans want to test their new weapons against a weaker target. The Meridians are peaceful traders with minimal military capability." Chen studied the star charts. "And they want us there to watch them bully a smaller species. Probably to remind us what happens to those who don't follow Council rules." "There's more," Park continued. "The Meridians have formally requested protection under Article 47 of the Galactic Peace Accords. The Council voted to send a joint peacekeeping force." General Hayes leaned back in his chair. "Joint force meaning the Corvans get to show off while everyone else watches?" "That's the plan," Chen confirmed. "Thekmore specifically requested human vessels. He wants to see how our primitive ships perform in a real situation." 3 days later, the human fleet reached the disputed system. Chen commanded the UES Phoenix, accompanied by the destroyers UES Defiant and UES Resolute. To alien sensors, they appeared to be basic military vessels with chemical propulsion and kinetic weapons. The Corvan fleet was already in position around Kepler 442b, a mining world with valuable rare earth deposits. 20 massive warships formed a blockade, their dark hulls bristling with energy weapons and missile pods. High Commander Thekmore's image appeared on Chen's communication screen. "Admiral Chen, your timing is perfect. Today you will see how the Corvan Empire maintains galactic peace." "Where are the Meridian ships?" Chen asked. "Hiding behind their asteroid stations like the cowards they are," Thekmore replied with obvious disgust. "They claim this system belongs to them based on some ancient treaty. We will correct this misunderstanding." Chen watched as the Corvan ships moved into attack formation. The Meridian Federation had only 5 small vessels defending their mining operation. Their ships looked more like cargo haulers than warships. "This isn't a battle," muttered Lieutenant Torres from the weapons station. "It's a massacre." The engagement began with the Corvans firing warning shots near the Meridian vessels. The energy beams lit up space with brilliant colors. When the Meridians refused to withdraw, Thekmore ordered a full attack. What followed shocked Chen's crew. The Corvan weapons were indeed powerful, but their tactics were brutal and unnecessarily destructive. They targeted civilian mining stations along with military vessels. Escape pods were fired upon. The Corvans seemed to enjoy causing maximum suffering. "Admiral," called out Ensign Martinez from sensors, "the Meridian command ship is requesting emergency assistance. They have wounded aboard and their life support is failing." Chen made a quick decision. Phoenix to Meridian vessel were moving to assist. The UES Phoenix broke formation and headed toward the damaged Meridian ship. Corvan vessels immediately moved to intercept. Human ship returned to observation position. Thekmore's voice crackled over the communication system. "Negative," Chen replied. "We're responding to a humanitarian emergency. 2 Corvan destroyers moved to block the Phoenix's path." Chen had to make a choice. She could retreat and let the Meridians die, or reveal some of humanity's true capabilities. "Engineering, bring the quantum maneuvering system online," she ordered quietly. "Ma'am, that will expose our real technology," warned Commander Stevens. "Only if they know what to look for," Chen replied. "Execute evasive pattern Delta." To the watching aliens, what happened next seemed impossible. The human ship suddenly accelerated far beyond what its chemical engines should allow. It curved around the Corvan vessels in a trajectory that defied conventional physics, reaching the damaged Meridian ship in seconds. The Corvan commander stared at his tactical display. "How did they move that fast?" His science officer checked the readings twice. "Unknown, sir. Their propulsion signature doesn't match any known technology." Meanwhile, the Phoenix deployed medical teams to the Meridian vessel. Chen's people worked quickly to stabilize the wounded and repair critical systems. The grateful Meridian captain, a being that resembled a tall, graceful deer with silver fur, transmitted his thanks. "You have saved many lives today, Admiral Chen. The Meridian people will remember this kindness." But the rescue had consequences. As the human ships continued to participate in the peacekeeping mission, the Corvans noticed other strange things. Human vessels took direct hits from energy weapons that should have destroyed them, yet their shields held. Their primitive kinetic weapons somehow penetrated Corvan armor that had never been breached before. During one skirmish, Ensign Martinez detected incoming Corvan missiles and fired the ship's defensive weapons. What appeared to be simple projectile guns produced energy signatures that confused Corvan sensors. The missiles didn't just explode, they seemed to dissolve into their component atoms. High Commander Thekmore became increasingly suspicious. After the mission ended, he called Chen to his flagship. "Your ships performed adequately," he said, his 4 eyes studying her carefully. "Better than expected for such primitive technology." Chen kept her expression neutral. "Our crews are well-trained, Commander." "Indeed. Tell me, how does a ship powered by chemical rockets achieve the acceleration we observed?" "Advanced fuel mixtures and improved engine design," Chen replied smoothly. "Human engineers are quite innovative." Thekmore's eyes narrowed. "And these kinetic weapons that somehow penetrated our armor?" "Depleted uranium rounds with enhanced density," Chen lied without hesitation. "Very effective against energy-based defensive systems." The Corvan commander didn't look convinced, but he had no way to prove his suspicions. The human ships had performed their functions and returned to Earth. The mission was officially a success. Back in the hidden conference room beneath Earth's surface, Chen briefed her team on what had happened. "We may have shown too much," warned Dr. Vasquez. "If they start investigating, They're already investigating, Chen replied. But they're looking for advanced versions of technology they understand. They can't conceive of what we've actually developed. General Hayes pulled up tactical reports from the mission. The quantum maneuvering system performed flawlessly. Even their best sensors couldn't detect how we actually moved. The exotic matter rounds worked perfectly too, added Dr. Wright. They think we just have better bullets. They have no idea we're firing concentrated dark matter. Chen looked at the data from their encounter with Corvin technology. What did we learn about their capabilities? They're powerful but predictable, reported Commander Park. Their weapons are based on focused energy beams and conventional explosives. No quantum manipulation, no exotic matter, no temporal effects. They're using advanced versions of technologies we abandoned decades ago. Most importantly, Chen continued, they're brutal. If they ever figure out what we really are, this won't end peacefully. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the implications. Humanity had spent decades developing technologies beyond anything the galaxy had seen. But they were surrounded by species that saw violence as the first solution to any problem. We need more information, Chen decided, about the Council, about the other species, about how this galaxy really works. And we need to continue appearing harmless while we learn. Dr. Vasquez nodded. The consciousness transfer experiments might help with intelligence gathering. If we could copy alien minds, one step at a time, Chen cautioned. For now, we maintain the illusion. Let them think we're just clever primitives who got lucky. Above them, alien monitoring stations continued their surveillance of Earth. The reports they sent back to the Galactic Council described a species making slow but acceptable progress under Council guidance. There was no mention of the quantum laboratories hidden beneath mountains, or the experimental facilities on the dark side of the moon. The galaxy still believed humans were children playing with simple tools. It had no idea that those children had already learned to manipulate the fundamental forces that held reality together. The ancient world appeared on the main screen like a graveyard of civilizations. Gray dust covered everything, and massive structures jutted from the surface like broken bones. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood beside Admiral Chen on the bridge of the UES Phoenix, studying the mysterious planet through her scanner equipment. The energy readings are incredible, Vasquez whispered. This place has been dead for thousands of years, but something down there is still active. The joint expedition had been the Council's idea. Scientists from 6 different species working together to explore the ruins of the predecessor civilization. Nobody knew much about the predecessors except that they had vanished long before. Any current species had achieved space travel. Chief Scientist Velteron's voice came through the communication system from his research vessel. All teams will coordinate their efforts. This is a historic opportunity to study predecessor technology. The expedition fleet included ships from the Zephyrian Collective, the Corvin Empire, the Harmony Collective, and 2 other species Chen had never encountered before. The humans were there as observers, supposedly too primitive to contribute meaningful research. High Commander Thekmore had made his feelings clear during the initial briefing. The humans may watch and learn, but they will not touch anything important. We cannot risk primitive hands damaging priceless artifacts, Chen had smiled and agreed, while secretly planning to conduct her own investigation using equipment the aliens couldn't detect. The landing parties established a base camp near the largest ruins. The structures were enormous, built from materials that seemed to shift color in the light. Strange symbols covered every surface, and the air hummed with barely contained energy. Dr. Vasquez worked alongside the alien scientists, using human scanning equipment that appeared crude, but was actually far more sophisticated than anything the other species possessed. While the aliens studied surface markings, her quantum sensors penetrated deep into the ruins, mapping hidden chambers and energy sources. Admiral, she transmitted privately to Chen, there's something massive buried beneath the main structure. The energy signature is unlike anything in our databases. Chen acknowledged the report while watching the alien team's work. The Zephyrians used traditional energy scanners and sample collectors. The Corvins employed brute force methods, cutting through walls with plasma torches. The Crystalline Harmony Collective communicated with the ruins through harmonic resonance. None of them detected what human sensors had found on the first day. The ruins weren't just archaeological sites. They were active machinery, waiting for the right signal to awaken. All teams, we have discovered an access chamber, announced Veltaran. Prepare for descent into the lower levels. The elevator they found was clearly designed for beings much larger than any current galactic species. As the mixed teams descended, the walls began to glow with soft blue light. Ancient symbols pulsed in sequence, almost like a countdown. Fascinating, muttered Dr. Kestel, a spider-like arachnid scientist. The predecessors appear to have used bioluminescent technology. Dr. Vasquez checked her hidden scanners and felt her blood run cold. Admiral, those aren't lights. Those are weapon charge indicators. At the bottom of the shaft, they found a vast chamber filled with dormant machinery. Towering constructs stood in rows like sleeping giants. The alien scientists spread out excitedly. Taking measurements and samples, Chen tried to warn them. Perhaps we should proceed more carefully. These systems might still be functional. Thekmore laughed harshly. Admiral, these machines have been dead for millennia. Even if they were operational, what could they do to modern ships? As if in response to his words, one of the constructs began to glow. Ancient systems came online with sounds like distant thunder. The blue lights in the walls pulsed faster. Everyone out! Chen shouted, but it was too late. A massive form emerged from the largest construct. A war machine the size of a building, covered in weapons that defied easy description. Its sensors swept across the chamber, cataloging the intruders. When it spoke, the voice shook dust from the ceiling. Foreign species detected, planetary defense protocol initiated, eliminating contamination. The expedition teams ran for the elevator, but the ancient machine was faster. Energy beams lanced out, striking the alien scientists. Where the beams hit, beings simply ceased to exist, not vaporized or destroyed, but erased as if they had never been there at all. Chen pushed Dr. Vasquez toward the elevator while pulling out her communication device. Phoenix emergency transport. All teams. But the war machine had already sealed the chamber. More constructs were awakening throughout the ruins. On the surface, the expedition ships found themselves under attack by weapons that materialized from the ground itself. The Corvin warships opened fire with everything they had. Their energy beams struck the war machines and scattered harmlessly. The ancient weapons responded by firing back, and where their shots hit, entire sections of Corvin ships simply vanished. Our shields are useless. Thekmore's panicked voice filled the communication channels. These weapons ignore all known defensive systems. One by one, the expedition ships were being destroyed. The Zephyrian research vessel tried to escape, but was caught by a beam that erased it from existence. The crystalline ship of the Harmony Collective lasted longer, but was eventually overwhelmed. In the underground chamber, Chen watched as the war machine turned its attention to the remaining survivors. Dr. Vasquez grabbed her arm. Elena, we need to use the emergency protocols, Chen said quietly. That will expose everything, Vasquez replied. Better exposed than dead. Chen activated her emergency beacon, not the simple distress signal the aliens expected, but a quantum entanglement communicator that instantly connected her to the Phoenix. Commander Stevens, initiate Protocol 7, full capability authorization. On the surface, the UES Phoenix suddenly changed. Its hull shimmered as advanced stealth systems came online. The ship's quantum drive activated, allowing it to phase partially out of normal space-time. What had appeared to be a primitive human vessel now moved like a ghost through dimensions the war machines couldn't touch. The Phoenix fired a single shot from its exotic matter cannon. The beam struck the largest war machine and didn't just destroy it. It unraveled the target's molecular structure, reducing the massive construct to its component atoms in seconds. The remaining war machines paused, their ancient sensors trying to understand what had just happened. In that moment of confusion, the Phoenix used its quantum transporter to extract the survivors from the underground chamber. Chen and her team materialized on the bridge to find the ship in full combat mode. Advanced displays showed tactical information that would have been incomprehensible to the alien survivors who appeared alongside them. Thekmore stared around the bridge in shock. This is not the ship we boarded. Same ship, Chen replied calmly. You just haven't seen it properly configured before. The Corvin commander's four eyes went wide as he studied the control systems. These readings, this technology, how is this possible? Dr. Vasquez was already at her station, scanning the remaining war machines. Admiral, they're adapting to our weapons. We need to leave now. Agreed. Stevens, get us out of here. The Phoenix engaged its quantum drive and folded space around itself. To the surviving aliens, it seemed like the ship simply stepped sideways through reality. One moment they were orbiting the ancient world. The next they were in empty space light years away. The journey back to Council space passed in stunned silence. The alien survivors sat in the Phoenix's conference room, trying to process what they had witnessed. Their ships had been destroyed by weapons they couldn't understand, and they had been saved by technology they couldn't even detect. Veltaran finally broke the silence. "Admiral Chen, your ship, your weapons, they operate on principles unknown to galactic science." Chen poured herself a cup of coffee before responding. "Chief Scientist, what makes you think we've been showing you all of our capabilities?" Thekmore leaned forward aggressively. "You deceived the Council. You allowed us to believe you were primitive." "You assumed we were primitive," Chen corrected. "We never claimed to be anything other than what we are." "What you are," whispered Dr. Kestal, "is far more advanced than any species in the galaxy." Chen nodded slowly. "Yes, we are." The implications hit them all at once. Humanity hadn't been struggling with basic space travel. They had been experimenting with technologies that could manipulate the fundamental forces of reality. The protected species that needed Council guidance had actually been observing and evaluating their supposed protectors. "How long?" Thekmore asked. "How long have you possessed this technology?" "Longer than your species has had spaceflight," Chen replied. "We've been very patient learning about galactic civilization before making any decisions about our place in it." Veltaran's brain pulsed with agitated colors. "The monitoring stations around your system, you could have destroyed them at any time." "We could have destroyed a lot of things," Chen said quietly. "We chose not to." As the Phoenix continued toward Council space, carrying survivors who would soon deliver the most shocking news in galactic history, Chen couldn't help but smile. The galaxy was about to learn that the primitive species they had been patronizing was actually the most technologically advanced civilization any of them had ever. In the emergency session of the Galactic Council convened, within hours of the Phoenix's return, representatives from dozens of species filled the massive chamber, their voices creating a chaos of fear, anger, and disbelief. Admiral Chen stood at the center of it all, calm and composed while the galaxy's most powerful beings demanded answers. High Commander Thekmore had wasted no time spreading word of what he had witnessed. The proud Corvan warrior now looked shaken and uncertain as he addressed the Council. "The humans possess technology beyond our understanding," he declared, his 4 eyes fixed on Chen. "Their ship moved through space in ways that violate known physics. Their weapons unmade matter itself." Chief Scientist Veltaran supported his account with sensor data from the expedition. "The energy signatures are completely unprecedented. The human vessel achieved faster-than-light travel without using hyperspace lanes. It fired projectiles that existed in multiple dimensional states simultaneously." The chamber erupted in arguments. Representatives shouted accusations, demands for explanations, and calls for immediate action. Some species wanted humanity quarantined. Others suggested preemptive strikes before humans could become a threat. Resonance Prime of the Harmony Collective pulsed with agitated light. "This changes everything. Our entire understanding of galactic civilization was based on false assumptions." Chen waited for the noise to die down before speaking. "Honorable delegates, you seem upset that we didn't reveal all our capabilities during first contact." "Upset?" snarled General Krexvok of the Saurian hegemony. "You made fools of us all. While we treated you as children, you were studying us like laboratory specimens." "An interesting choice of words," Chen replied. "When your species first contacted us, you assigned us protected species status without asking what we needed protection from. You placed monitoring stations in our system without our consent. You made decisions about our future without our input. Who exactly was treating whom like laboratory specimens?" The accusation hit home. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably as they remembered their initial treatment of humanity. Supreme Chancellor Dex Narian, an ancient being who led the Council, raised a hand for silence. "Admiral Chen, the Council requires a full accounting of human technological capabilities. No more deceptions." Chen activated a holographic projector that her team had installed in the chamber. "Very well. But I should warn you. What you're about to see may be disturbing." The first image showed Earth's moon, but not as the aliens remembered it. Hidden beneath the lunar surface was a vast facility filled with ships that dwarfed anything in the galactic fleet, vessels designed with technology that bent light around them, making them nearly invisible to conventional sensors. "This is Luna Base," Chen explained. "Our primary shipyard and research facility. We've been operating there for 73 years. Dr. Kestal's mandibles clicked nervously. "Those ships? How many are there?" "Currently? About 800 combat vessels and 2,000 research ships. We've been building them while you thought we were struggling with chemical rockets." The next images showed Earth's hidden research facilities, underground laboratories where scientists manipulated quantum fields like clay, orbital stations disguised as space debris, conducting experiments with exotic matter and controlled gravitational fields. "Our quantum research division has been active for 47 years, Chen continued. "We achieved stable faster-than-light travel 31 years ago. Consciousness transfer was perfected 18 years ago. Timeline manipulation became practical 7 years ago." Veltaran's brain pulsed with shocked colors. "Timeline manipulation? You mean temporal mechanics? Limited applications only," Chen assured him. "We can slow, accelerate, or briefly reverse localized time streams. Nothing too dramatic." The chamber fell silent. Species that had dominated the galaxy for millennia were learning that a supposedly primitive civilization had surpassed them in every field of science. "What else?" whispered Supreme Chancellor Dex Narian. Chen changed the display to show human weapons technology. "Our defensive systems include controlled gravity fields, quantum displacement barriers, and dimensional phase shifting. Offensive capabilities range from exotic matter projectiles to reality distortion weapons." "Reality distortion?" Thekmore asked with growing horror. "We can alter the fundamental constants of physics in localized areas," Chen explained casually. "Change the speed of light, modify gravitational strength, adjust the weak nuclear force. It's quite effective against conventional shields." General Krexvox slammed his clawed hand on his desk. Why hide all this from us?" Chen turned to face him directly. "General, what was your first suggestion when you learned about our true capabilities?" I said we should consider preemptive strikes." "Exactly. You immediately thought about destroying us. That's why we remained hidden, to learn whether galactic civilization was ready for what we represent." She gestured to the chaos around them. "Your reaction today suggests it wasn't." Supreme Chancellor Dex Narian leaned forward. "What do you want from us, Admiral?" "Nothing," Chen replied. "We've been self-sufficient for decades. The question is what you want from us." The implications began to sink in. Humanity didn't need the Galactic Council's protection, guidance, or resources. They had been observing galactic civilization like scientists studying an interesting but ultimately primitive culture. "The monitoring stations around your system," Veltaran said slowly. "You could have destroyed them at any time." "We could have destroyed your entire fleet at any time," Chen corrected. "We chose not to because we wanted to understand you before making any irreversible decisions." Resonance Prime's light patterns shifted to what Chen had learned indicated deep anxiety. "You've been evaluating us, deciding whether we deserve to continue existing." "That's a rather dramatic way to put it," Chen said. "We've been observing galactic politics, studying your various species, and trying to determine whether peaceful coexistence is possible." "And what have you concluded?" asked Supreme Chancellor Dex Narian. Chen was quiet for a long moment. "That's still under discussion." The chamber erupted again, but this time the tone was different. Fear had replaced anger. The galaxy's most powerful civilizations were realizing they were completely at the mercy of a species they had dismissed as irrelevant. "What happens now?" Thekmore asked when the noise died down. "That depends on you," Chen replied. "We could continue as before with humanity pretending to be what you expect us to be. We could withdraw from galactic affairs entirely and leave you alone, or, prompted the Supreme Chancellor. "We could work together as equals, share our knowledge, help solve the galaxy's problems, face future challenges as partners rather than as protectors and protected." Dr. Kestal's compound eyes studied Chen carefully. "What guarantee do we have that you won't simply conquer us all?" Chen smiled. "Doctor, if we wanted to conquer the galaxy, would we be having this conversation? We could have taken control at any point in the last 6 months. Instead, we saved your expedition from the predecessor war machines and brought you home safely." The truth of that statement was undeniable. Humanity had demonstrated overwhelming technological superiority while showing remarkable restraint. They could have been conquerors but had chosen to be observers instead. The galaxy is changing, Chen continued. The predecessor ruins prove that ancient threats still exist. There are challenges out there that will require the best efforts of all our species. We can face them together, or you can face them alone while we watch from a distance. Supreme Chancellor Narration looked around the chamber at his fellow delegates. Fear still dominated their expressions, but Chen could see the beginning of understanding. Humanity wasn't offering conquest or protection. They were offering partnership. What would such cooperation look like? The Chancellor asked. Joint research projects, technology sharing, mutual defense agreements, true equality rather than the patronizing relationship you initially imposed on us. Your weapons, Deckmore began, would be used to defend galactic civilization, not to dominate it. Chen finished. We've had the power to rule this galaxy for decades. The fact that you're still free should tell you something about our intentions. The chamber fell silent as the delegates absorbed the magnitude of what was being offered. Humanity had revealed themselves not as conquerors, but as potential saviors. A species with the power to protect the galaxy from threats no one else could handle. We need time to consider this, Supreme Chancellor Narration said finally. Chen nodded. Of course, but while you're considering, remember that the galaxy just became a much more dangerous place. Ancient war machines that can erase ships from existence are stirring to life. You'll need all the help you can get. As the session ended, Chen couldn't help but notice how the other delegates looked at her now. Not with the condescension they had shown before, but with the wary respect accorded to a predator that had chosen not to strike. The galaxy was about to learn what it meant to live. 3 months after the revelation, the galaxy had settled into an uneasy new normal. Admiral Chen stood in the observation deck of Harmony Station, watching ships from dozens of species dock and depart. Some came seeking trade agreements. Others requested military assistance. Many simply wanted to study human technology from a safe distance. Dr. Elena Vasquez joined her at the viewing window. The council finally voted on the partnership proposal. Unanimous approval, I assume? Chen asked. 57 votes in favor, 3 abstentions, 0 against, Vasquez confirmed. Amazing what the threat of extinction-level ancient weapons can do to encourage cooperation. The past 3 months had been transformative for galactic civilization. News of the predecessor war machines had spread throughout known space, sparking panic among species that suddenly realized their most advanced weapons were useless against such threats. Only humanity possessed the technology to fight back. The first major test had come just 6 weeks after the Council revelation. A predecessor facility had awakened in the Vega system, sending war machines to attack a Zephyrian colony world. The local defense fleet had been obliterated in minutes. Chen remembered the desperate transmission from Chief Scientist Vel Terran. Admiral Chen, we need your help. Millions of lives are at stake. The human response had been swift and devastating. A single ship, the UES Quantum Storm, had arrived at Vega and systematically destroyed every war machine using weapons that operated on principles the galaxy was still trying to understand. The grateful Zephyrians had been the first to formally request a defense treaty with Earth. The technology transfer programs are ahead of schedule, Vasquez reported. The joint research facility on Kepler Station is producing remarkable results. Chen nodded. The partnership hadn't been one-sided. While humanity shared selected technologies with their new allies, they gained access to thousands of years of accumulated galactic knowledge. Alien insights into biology, chemistry, and exotic physics had accelerated human research in unexpected directions. Any word from the Corvan Empire? Chen asked. High Commander Thekmore requested another meeting. He wants to discuss expanding the military cooperation agreement. Chen smiled. The proud Corvan military had struggled the most with humanity's sudden prominence. Warriors who had dominated the galaxy for centuries now found themselves studying human tactical manuals like sacred texts. Their traditional aggressive approach to warfare had proven laughably ineffective against predecessor technology. The door chimed, and Commander Lisa Park entered with a datapad. Admiral, we've received the analysis from the archaeological team on Rigel 7. Chen took the report and scanned its contents. Her expression grew serious. How many sites have they identified? Over 300 confirmed predecessor facilities across the galaxy, Park replied. Most are still dormant, but the energy readings suggest they're all connected to some kind of central network. A network that's slowly coming online, Vasquez added grimly. The activation at Vega wasn't random, it was a response to our presence at the first site. The implications were staggering. The predecessor civilization hadn't simply vanished. They had left behind a defensive system designed to activate when new spacefaring species reached a certain level of development. The galaxy was facing the automated revenge of a dead civilization. What's our response capability? Chen asked. The new Joint Defense Fleet will be operational within 6 months, Park reported. 50 human vessels working alongside modified ships from 12 different species. It's the largest military cooperation in galactic history. Through the observation window, Chen could see the construction of that very fleet. Human shipyards worked alongside alien engineers, creating hybrid vessels that combined the best of multiple technologies. Corvin hull designs enhanced with human quantum drives. Zephyrian sensor arrays integrated with human reality distortion weapons. It was unprecedented cooperation born of necessity. A new figure appeared in the observation deck, Supreme Chancellor Dex Narian himself. The ancient leader of the Galactic Council moved slowly but with evident purpose. Admiral Chen, I bring news from the Outer Rim territories. Chen turned to face him. More predecessor activations. 3 new sites came online yesterday. Our frontier colonies are requesting immediate evacuation assistance. The Chancellor's expression was grim. We're losing ground faster than we can respond. Have they tried the new shield configurations we provided? Vasquez asked. Yes, and they're effective against the war machine's primary weapons. But these new sites are using different technology, something that can punch through our strongest defenses. Chen wasn't surprised. The predecessors had been adapting their tactics with each engagement, learning from their encounters with human technology. It was becoming an arms race across time, with the living fighting against the increasingly sophisticated weapons of the dead. I'll need to see the tactical data, Chen said. If they're adapting this quickly, we may need to accelerate the timeline for Phase 2. The Chancellor's eyes widened. Phase 2? You haven't mentioned a Phase 2 before. Chen exchanged glances with Vasquez. We've been developing some additional capabilities, but they're not ready for field deployment yet. What kind of capabilities? The Chancellor pressed. The kind that could end this war permanently, Chen replied, but also the kind that could fundamentally alter the nature of reality in this galaxy. She led them to a secure conference room where she activated a holographic display showing Earth's latest research projects. The images that appeared would have been considered impossible just months ago. Project Kronos allows us to send information backwards through time, potentially warning ourselves about predecessor activations before they happen. Project Genesis can create stable pocket universes where civilians could shelter during attacks. Project Omega can rewrite the physical laws in entire star systems. The Chancellor stared at the display in awe and terror. These technologies, they're like the power of gods. Which is exactly why we've been hesitant to use them, Chen said. The last thing the galaxy needs is a species with godlike powers making unilateral decisions about everyone's future. But if the predecessor threat continues to escalate, Vasquez began, then we may not have a choice, Chen finished. That's why the partnership is so important. If we're going to reshape reality to save the galaxy, we want every species to have a voice in how it's done. Over the following weeks, the scope of the crisis became clear. Predecessor facilities were activating across the galaxy at an accelerating rate. Each new site brought more advanced war machines and deadlier weapons. Traditional galactic civilization was crumbling under the assault, but something remarkable was happening in response. Species that had been enemies for centuries were working together. The Corvin Empire shared military technology with their former rivals. The reclusive Harmony Collective opened their most sacred sites for use as refugee centers. Even the predatory arachnid hierarchy contributed resources to the common defense. At the center of it all was humanity, no longer hiding their capabilities but using them to coordinate a galaxy-wide resistance. Human scientists worked around the clock to develop countermeasures for each new predecessor weapon. Human diplomats mediated between species learning to cooperate for the first time. Human ships appeared wherever the fighting was fiercest, their reality-bending weapons turning the tide of desperate battles. Not the partnership that had begun in fear was evolving into something unprecedented, a true galactic civilization where the strongest species used their power to protect rather than dominate. Standing on Harmony Station, 6 months later, Chen watched as the joint fleet prepared for its largest operation yet. 300 ships representing every major species in the galaxy, all working together to assault the primary predecessor control facility that had been located in the galaxy's core. "Think it will work?" Vasquez asked, joining her at the observation window. Chen smiled as she watched Corvin destroyers flying in formation with human quantum ships. Their crews trained in tactics no single species could have developed alone. "Doesn't matter if it works," she replied. "What matters is that we're doing it together." The galaxy had discovered that its greatest threat had also revealed its greatest strength. In the face of extinction, dozens of species had learned to become one people, and leading them was the supposedly primitive species that had been quietly preparing for this moment for decades. The age of human concealment was over. The age of galactic unity had begun. As the massive fleet engaged its drives and headed toward the galaxy's core, Chen reflected on how far they had all come. The aliens who had once patronized humanity as children now followed human leadership into the greatest battle in galactic history. And somewhere in the depths of space, ancient machines waited for an enemy they could never have anticipated. A galaxy united by the very species they had dismissed as irrelevant. The war for the galaxy's future was about to begin, and humanity would no longer be fighting it alone.